So another camp story. And it's also related to this movie we were watching, Top Gun.
I was
about to say, if it wasn't, we're just telling camp stories. It's gonna be really upsetting.
You know what?
For all the Maverick fans out there,
me included.
So when I was a freshman in high school, or year after freshman in high school, I was at camp, and I met this guy, name redacted.
Was it Maverick?
You know, we'll just call him Maverick.
was it Goose?
Was it the Iceman?
And
Oh my god. Sorry, I thought I dropped something, but I'm good.
and this was like he was straighty McStraight, you know? And
Hold on, what does that mean?
He was really heterosexual.
Okay, he was like overtly. Okay.
He was like aggressively heterosexual.
I don't really know entirely what that means, but I'll trust you on this.
There's a way you can be aggressive
I'm
about
sure.
it.
I'm not saying there isn't. I'm just saying I don't know what that is.
Anyway, he and we flirted a little bit. He had his grandma's cell phone, and he used it to text me at night. We swang on the swings together.
Texting you sweet nothings from his grandma's phone.
Maybe. God. Anyway, we swang on the swings together. Now he's married to someone who looks like she could be someone in the Amish community. And he's perfectly
What a
happy.
weird way to say that. Not to someone who looks Amish.
And I love trashing this random girl too.
Like your effort to be respectable, like the member of the Amish, the the LGBTQA, the A stands for Amish community.
Anyway, this was his favorite movie, and I had never seen it, and he was like, I love Top Gun. Top Gun's the best fucking movie.
Isn't it funny how history repeats itself with Bridget?
Bridget, you have a type.
People who are just really obsessed with Top Gun.
He was like, you have to watch Top Gun. You have to watch it. And I was like, okay, I guess I will. And then I never did. And he ghosted me. And the next...
And because you didn't watch Top Gun.
Probably.
Is the implication.
And the next year, he pretended I did not exist. We talked once. And this is the man that was like calling me on his grandma's phone and shit. Fuck. Anyway. So, yeah, that's my Top Gun story. And the straights don't know.
Hello.
Hello, all
Hi.
you middle tooth fans.
Ooh.
Welcome to Cinema Crosscuts Cinema Stuff. I'm Logan.
I'm Madison.
I'm Frani.
I'm Brie.
This might mark the first time I've ever said my name first.
I know.
And the reason why is because this is a very special episode.
This is a very,
really
very
is.
special
because
episode.
even though I said something first, there's a fan in here who comes first when talking about this film.
I want you all to know that it's obviously it's like later, but we watched this movie about like a month ago.
Yeah.
Probably more than a month ago by the time it comes out. And we watched it for my birthday because the only thing I wanted to do on my birthday was watch Top Gun with my friends.
Yep.
I love it.
Because
It's
I
great.
love Top Gun that much.
It was really special.
Top Gun is perhaps like my second
I
favorite
feel
movie.
really honored to get to partake in watching Top Gun with
Partake.
you for your birthday.
Watching Top Gun with me is really a rite of passage. Like, I can't wait to someday have children and then, like, at the right time, sit them down and, like, make them experience Top Gun with me.
Like,
And they'll be like, Mom, this is fucking stupid.
Like, what are we, Mom, what are
They'll
we
be
doing?
like-
You're gathering us all up. It's like, you're about to enter the danger zone.
Right, it's the danger zone, baby. Then they're gonna be like, "What is this place like? America? I don't know what that is."
Oh, Jesus
Because in my
Christ.
mind, like we've devolved into a dumpster fire by then.
Yeah.
I'm just like making predictions with the state of things. So
Is Bridget's not here? You haven't mentioned her. Is she here with you?
no,
in
she's
this?
there. Of course, she's there.
What
Just
does she,
like in
what does
one
she
of
do?
those posts.
She's not joining you in this Top Gun like rite of passage. What
no,
does she
I've
do?
been banned.
She's implicitly she's there.
I get too into
I can
it.
picture you in just one of those like post-apocalyptic communities you always see on like
yeah, and we're like huddled
on the
around this like
CW.
tiny TV watching like the
Yeah,
shittiest
you guys
quality
are
Top
eating
Gun.
like canned Vienna sausages. Like
Yeah.
this is a special moment for all of us as a family.
and there's always like weird makeshift bridges between the places.
Yeah.
Correct. But Top Gun remains.
Yeah.
Top Gun,
Or like
timeless.
I start telling the story of Top Gun to my children, and that becomes like the story of our people. In the
And
war
somehow
torn.
you can't tell it as gay no matter how hard you try because there's
Right.
nothing gayer than this movie.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Like even if they make gay love in my retelling of Top Gun,
Yeah, it's still not as
like
gay.
it's still not as gay as what
You're
the
like-
movie gives us.
You're
Some
like
of that
carving
jeans
a
on the beach,
caveman
dude.
style in a cave. Like,
Yes, Tom Cruise's middle tooth. I'm carving it in a cave.
Just the truth, nothing else.
So, from what I've seen, the only scene I've ever seen that's more gay in a film is the opening to Batman and Robin, where Joel Schumacher's literally having cock shots in the film.
Yes,
Other than that, this is the gayest piece of cinema that exists.
it really is.
like gayest unintentionally gay or gayest
both,
both.
dude.
Okay.
I'm just
The only part that wasn't gay was a sex scene that was forced into the film,
oh
was
so
Come on.
bad.
Very
which makes
strange.
it seem more gay. Like it's even more gay now.
Right, because you watch the sex scene and it is unbelievably
uncomfortable.
unreal. Like it just
Uncomfortable.
It's
Absolutely.
like too sensual, for it to even be real.
He really isn't there like a rumor? I guess we couldn't verify this, but there's a rumor that he really fucked her, like in the movie.
I don't know. I'm
I
pretty
mean-
sure she's. I don't know.
But I mean, you sure
Weren't
she's
they
a
dating
lesbian?
at the
I think
They were together at the time.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I mean,
But
that's what Logan said when we were watching.
But what
it,
I'm not
though.
sure of is like if they actually did have sex.
Yeah, I could be wrong.
I couldn't verify that. I was
But yeah, that
You were not
but
there.
You're right.
I mean,
that
I was not there.
that bizarre sex scene makes the movie gayer in a way that is inexplicable.
You're right.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Like the joy of Top Gun is that it is everything. Like Top Gun is so many things.
I was so not ready for it to be that many things.
I know.
too,
Yeah,
you know?
same.
I was thinking the whole time because Franny's like constantly mentioning like, oh my god, like Goose is like so adorable with Tom
Yeah.
Cruise. Like this is so awesome. And I'm just like, oh, what an evil turn
sweet,
this will
you got a big
take.
storm coming.
It's like
was
where the red
not
fern
okay.
grows, Bridge to Terabithia
Oh my
type
God,
tears,
I
baby.
know.
It's like that kind of tears you had when your fourth grade teacher was reading Bridge to Terabithia with you.
Right? I
Or
was
when
just
you read
shocked
it on
that
your own.
I was just shocked that this movie
was worse
could also be
somehow.
that. It shouldn't have been allowed to be both, you know?
But
No,
it
it's-
is,
it's
and
so
that's
much
the
better
best
because
thing
of
about
it.
Top Gun is that it is everything.
Where do we start?
Like,
All right, Val Kilmer's got the most sensual lips I've ever seen.
should we tell the plot?
I think the
Is
plot.
there a plot?
Yeah, there's a plot. There's,
I know.
There's this
I know
guy,
there is.
and he's super into guys, and he's really great at doing planes.
Yeah,
but that's
he-
not the. Forget
But
that
he
part of the
doesn't-
story.
He doesn't he doesn't play by your rules.
No, he's a
man.
maverick.
He's a maverick.
Ba-da-ba, da-da-da.
And there's something weird that happened with his
And
dad.
his boyfriend's a goose, I guess.
He's Goose.
He's goose.
And they get to go to this, despite their bad boy ways, they get to go to this elite flight school.
Because like another dude like quits because he almost died or some shit. Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Some
yeah,
dude
he
was like,
almost
"Oh,
died, and he was like, "I'm out. I'm not doing it anymore."
Give it to the boyfriends over there. Give it to the cute couple.
Right, doing it for the gays,
Give it to the lovely couple
the
in row
girls
number
and the
3.
gays. So they get to go to this elite flight school, which they call colloquially Top Gun,
Top Gun,
and whoever is the best pilot at Top Gun gets to go to any assignment of their choosing in the Navy. That's like
which
that's-
is insane.
Right.
It is not
Right.
It
accurate.
does not work like that. And the funniest thing about Top Gun is like I keep saying, Top Gun is so many things. Top Gun is gay. Top Gun is an action movie. It is a sad story about
I'm
the
so
loss
ready
of
for
one
a
somebody-
drama, a
friend.
legitimate drama.
I'm so
Yes.
ready for somebody in the comments to be like, Top Gun isn't gay.
and according to Val Kilmer's like mole, it's also a horror movie.
what?
Val
What?
Kilmer's
Oh.
mole on his face, it's a horror movie.
Oh.
That
my
mole,
God.
I feel like it gets like. You ever seen Scary Movie and the popcorn gets bigger and bigger?
Yeah, it's
I
just
swear in every
gross.
scene his mole is
God.
bigger and bigger.
But one of Top Gun's like other functions is like military propaganda, because I'm not kidding you when I say that Navy recruitment numbers shot up after Top Gun's
Oh
release.
yeah, no for sure.
Yeah.
Because everybody wanted to be Maverick.
Everyone wanted to fuck Goose.
Right, everybody wanted to be like hanging out in like steamy locker rooms with a bunch
Yeah.
of dudes in their
And
towels.
playing volleyball on the beach in their jeans.
I was gonna say jeans. That's one of my favorite things about this movie is Tom Cruise playing sand volleyball in his jeans. It's so fucking stupid.
But he still took his shirt off, which is important to note.
I mean, we have to have that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so much gayer to play sand volleyball in jeans.
Yeah, no, it's definitely gayer.
Yeah.
Right, because like
No, you're trying to accentuate your ass and balls.
Correct.
That's what jeans are for men. They accentuate the ass and the balls.
If you were playing in normal volleyball playing clothes like sportswear, you'd be doing it for the sport, for the athleticism of it all. But you're doing it to slap each other's
They're doing it for
asses.
like an Adonis's. They're trying to make you look like glimmer in the sun with your sweaty skin and your fucking pack sun jeans.
And like that's literally how the scene is shot.
It's so gay.
Like, so gay.
It literally feels like at the end of it, it's like it's Pepsi. Like it felt like a commercial for something. You know what I mean?
It's like kind of like soft focus,
it's like
hazy.
Pepsi's like Gay Pride Month commercial.
Correct. It literally feels like a gay pride commercial.
It's so gay. It feels like a parody movie about gay volleyballers. Like it feels too gay.
And like I cannot stress this enough.
But with volleyball.
That the song in the background is called "Playing with the Boys."
Yeah, I know.
And like, and then they're like, how telling is it that the titular boys of the song try to get Tom Cruise to stay and continue to play with them as opposed to going and seeing his girlfriend?
Dude. What are you gonna bail on us for? By the way, we're a spoiler podcast. Here's a spoiler: Maverick and Goose loved each other, and that's the real tragedy of it all.
Yeah,
it is.
Because the way he died was like kind of, you know, Maverick's fault, and like also kind of Iceman's fault, because Iceman's a real fucker, but
he is
with his big ass mole and shit, and his big ass lips. He's got the biggest lips on a Caucasian man I've ever seen.
I know, he really
they
does.
are huge. Like I feel like he could suck Tom, you know, not that way, but he could suck Tom Cruise's head like right off, like with his lips. They're huge. God. I'm telling you, I endorse the idea of you going back and watching the film and not picturing that creepy Happy Meal guy with the big lips, because that's exactly what Val Kilmer
really
looks like.
is.
Sorry, I feel that way. And also, he's a dick in this movie, so fuck him.
He is, but you know,
there is
he
a turn,
comes around.
Yeah, there is a turn. Then they start to date. I'm guessing.
Then they like have bedroom eyes.
The locker room scene.
Down some Soviets. Yeah.
The locker room scene is so insanely gay.
There are several locker room scenes,
but I'm talking about the one where they're
like,
kind of like, it's your fault that Goose, but like when they're like back and forth, like yelling at each other in the locker room,
and they're just getting closer and closer
I'm like,
to
just
each other.
just fuck already.
None
this
of them
is what we're all
wearing
here to
clothes.
see. Yeah,
and like, there is no reason that so many scenes of this movie have to take place in this locker room where everyone's half naked. These like the conversations that they have in there could have happened anywhere, but for some reason they happen in this locker room. Like, and it's like, why? Why did you do that?
And the way they try to make us believe that Tom Cruise is not a homosexual is like, we're gonna have him break out into song at the bar. I'm sorry.
What?
You're not. Remember when he was like, he's singing to What's Her Face? I'm like, that's not exactly giving me that he's not gay. Right. I'm just being real.
And then like, okay, so then he leaves. We're jumping around in this movie a lot, but it doesn't really matter.
It really doesn't.
But he leaves volleyball to go and like hang out with his girly friend.
And you know he's got sand in his jeans.
I want to talk
that's
about
why
that.
As soon as he gets there, he's like, "Let me take a shower."
And she's like, "No."
Like that's not like swimwear is designed for a reason, you know, to help with that. And he's just wearing fucking sweaty jeans with sand in them.
Yeah.
Like, beyond even playing volleyball, I can't imagine wearing jeans at the beach.
No.
That sounds so unpleasant
or
to me.
in like that moist, hot weather. Like, no, thank you.
And like the way they were playing with each other, you're like, oh man, that was great. Like they were like, what a great job.
They were like
Slap on the
slapping
ass.
asses and
yeah,
shit.
they were legit
like,
slapping asses.
That is not a thing that we do in volleyball. I've never seen it.
I've never gone and played with the boys and slapped our asses on the beach wearing jeans. That will never happen.
Right.
It's improbable.
And then if one of your boys wants to go
even.
hook up with a woman, you all shame him.
Yeah, no, that's correct.
What
Dude's about to go get laid. We're like, bro, where's
Like, come on, man.
We're playing volleyball here, bro. Like,
God.
That does not happen.
She's not gonna slap your ass like I
Listen,
will.
bro, there's hoes and then there's your bros, and you should just stay with your bros always, and always be by us, and never be near a hoe, and always be embraced by us. And slapping you. I mean, just kidding. Whatever, do what you want. That's literally the gayest shit ever.
And then he goes to her house. And they don't even fuck. Like, that is not even when they begin to fuck. Like, it doesn't happen there.
No.
It only
Are
happens.
you looking for something?
What's going on?
She's over here like, and it's picking up in my headphones from her microphone.
I'm so
She's
sorry.
just a maverick digging in the candy bowl
What
of
do you
pilots
need?
for
What are you
her
looking for?
her goose.
I was trying to make a decision on what candy to get.
What is it? Are you gonna decide? Nice. Good
Bam! There we go. You guys will never know what it is. We'll never tell
Nope.
Nope.
choice. But yeah, so they don't fuck even when he leaves volleyball to go see her. They just kind of hang out, and I think they talk about his dad a little
They
bit.
talk about his dad, and she stares at his tooth.
And
Which, I
aren't we
mean,
all
is
staring at
understandable.
Tom Cruise's
Here's the
tooth?
thing: we watched it in HD. You know, like this movie was never meant to be seen in HD, and what you
So
really,
it's just, like,
what
right
you
there.
see is like there's actually a moving like rainbow aura of how gay it is. And this-
Correct.
You can't see
Right.
it in 1080, you know, but once you're in like full HD, you can really see it. And then the other thing is, you really get an idea of where his tooth is, and it's not where it should be.
I want to meet men that claim they're straight that say this is their favorite movie.
I
Well,
really
I
want to
knew
talk to
one.
Bridget's like little fling there.
He
Yeah.
probably won't talk to me anymore. He lives in the same town we do.
I just have questions.
And I
Why don't we just message him? Why don't we call him right now on Facebook? You're friends with him on Facebook?
no.
Damn it.
When I came out, I was like, I probably should get rid of these really terrible, toxic people.
That's valid. I support you in that.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, like,
how
that's
great
not
would
a
it be?
terrible
Nah,
person.
How great would it be not only to throw the fact that you're gay in his face, but the fact that his favorite movie is the gayest thing ever?
Right.
Right.
Just call him and scream gay, 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 gay.
I'm not
gay.
kidding. So it's always been the meme that Top Gun's gay, but like when you sit down and watch it,
It really
it
is.
really is really gay.
Like,
I think
not
like,
joking.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think when we
Yeah.
sat you down.
Yeah, like, okay, so I went in with certain
'Cause
expectations.
Madison, let me say this. Madison
Yeah.
also says every movie's
That's
gay.
what I was going to say. Yeah, like, she'll say, like, movies that are not gay are gay.
But she's like,
Correct.
Tenet,
Because
gay.
Madison, some people see through rose-colored glasses. Madison sees through gay.
Gay.
Rainbow
Rainbow
colored
colored
glasses.
I was
glasses.
about to say that.
Like, they say
Correct.
gay, 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 gay,
Yes.
gay, and
It's,
they're
like,
just
lit up.
rainbow. So,
Heteronormative bullshit. It's like lighting up.
so I was expecting, like, maybe, like, I was expecting about as gay as, like, less gay than, like, Scream.
No.
Oh.
Boy, were you wrong.
Oh my god, this made Scream look like the most straight thing.
Like a
Correct.
straight people recruitment video.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Like,
a
this is-
fucking conversion therapy, how to do it video.
This is gay.
How to do it.
Like,
How to do it. It doesn't work.
I just
You don't.
You
Hear that, Mike Pence wife? You don't do it.
like want to know if they knew how gay it was, or if this was
Yes, there's no
They
way.
knew?
I am of the full opinion that somebody, maybe not Tom Cruise, but whoever is making this film,
Somebody, they knew what they were
they
doing.
had to. There's
again-
literally dick shots. There are dick shots.
Yes, and it like comes back to like so many choices in this movie that we're not have to be like I just said about the shower like locker room scenes. Conversations take place in there that are important to the plot, but they don't have to happen
No.
there.
And then it
they
feels
certainly
like-
don't have to happen with everybody's towel below their hip bone.
And then the other thing, I know it's so bad. They
It
got to
feels
show that
like-
dick V. But
Right.
I want to say this too.
Yeah.
The other thing is a lot of people argue, well, it's just a movie about a lot of guys all together. Well, let me tell you about a couple of movies where a bunch of guys are all together and it's not gay. Saving Private Ryan.
exactly, like plenty
Monuments
of movies are
Men.
like this.
There's tons of Fury. They're all stuck in a tank together. Nobody tries to fuck each other because they're not gay. These men are gay.
Like Maverick and Iceman are giving each other bedroom eyes throughout this film,
And it's like-
they
it's
have
like-
this like weird gay tension
You
rivalry.
were talking about
They
the gay
do.
jealousy. This film is gay jealousy.
It epitomizes.
She's so excited she can't even see
I
herself.
love Top Gun so much. It epitomizes gay jealousy.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, and like, and so
And also the soundtrack's a bop. I just want to throw that out
it really,
there.
really
is.
is.
Kenny
It's a great
Loggins
soundtrack.
rated
It
it.
feels so extra gay that like recruitment numbers went up after like
right.
Right.
we know.
Like I just picture a bunch of like dudes like walking into like the Naval Services office and YMCA by the Village People's playing the whole time.
Yeah.
We're gonna play with the boys. Like literally, like that is the vibe.
Like people always talk about like if people see gays in movies and TV that like it'll turn them gay, and I feel like maybe Top Gun did that a little
might
bit.
be accurate.
It makes it look so like fun and glamorous
and exciting.
Yeah, and you get to fly planes,
and everyone has washboard abs that are always exposed.
And you're like, wow, this looks great. And then again with things that like make this movie gay that didn't have to happen but did. He like okay, so they don't fuck the first time he goes to her house, right? The next time he sees her, she is in menswear and a cap.
I know.
She looks like she's dressed like a boy.
I wrote this down, but I forgot to say it. I was like, weird that they only fuck when like it's like that scene in yet again I'm gonna say Scary Movie once again.
Yeah.
Where like he keeps having his girlfriend put on like a football uniform and to the point where he's literally like
correct
having her like give it to him. That literally is the idea. She put on this like naval uniform and is like all manned up, and Tom Cruise is like, well, this will suffice.
And then they have that like very bizarre sex scene.
Yeah, too real. Too real.
It was like
It feels like he's overcompensating.
It felt like legitimate, real, boring sex.
Yes, and
like the most boring sex you can have.
And like they felt like, and the sex scene was not originally in this film.
No,
right? They screened it,
and so that's why it feels so strange.
Yeah.
It feels like they shoved it in there to try to make it
Until
look
they
more
fucked,
straight.
I got mentorship vibes from her. Like, hey, you need to calm down.
Right.
Until she's like, well, go ahead and just toss it in me, I guess. And he's like, well, I'll pretend you're Goose.
And
we'll
like,
do
I
this.
love how the one female character in this is that, you know?
Right? Yeah.
Just a hallway for him.
God.
Just the hallway. That's all it is. No. That's all she is.
Oh my God.
You cannot deny it. She serves zero purpose. And the purpose she serves, it could be easily served by other characters.
Yes, correct.
So
strange.
she's just a giant fucking beard, like stapled to this film.
Yeah, and then like, his daddy issues. Like, we don't even need to get into that, but like, but let's for a minute because like him trying to live up to his father and prove that his father was a man.
When he looks at Goose, he's like, "You remind me of my father." Like, what are you trying to say here? Is this like Freudian? I'm a little confused.
Well, no, he didn't say that to Goose. I don't think.
No, I'm asking you. What are you trying to say? I know he didn't say that.
No, I'm just saying like the whole thing with his dad is that his dad like he died in theoretically disgracefully, right? Or so everybody thinks because the information is classified. So like him trying to prove that his dad is a man and that he is a man and like proving himself, it's like so complex.
Might I add that also the idea that people would automatically assume that someone's death was disgraceful is kind of odd.
Yeah, it's a little weird. But
Yeah.
That's one of the suspending because if you're like in the services and somebody dies, not everyone's like conclusion like he must have been a fuck since he died.
Right.
But I mean that's part of the disbelief you got to suspend.
Yeah.
Much like Tom Cruise actually wanting to be with this woman in this film. That's another.
Much like with Tom Cruise in real life actually wanting to be with any woman.
Ooh.
Like Tom, come on, baby.
You can't out Tom. Tom didn't say. You can't say that.
I know, but come on, we all know it.
It's like one of those open secrets, you know?
Yeah, we all know what's going on. That's why he's a Scientologist.
I want to just like be a fly in the wall on set for this movie.
Right. Like I wish I could like hear the direction of this movie.
All right, guys, more jazz hands. Like,
right. Or like him telling you like, all right, I'm gonna need you to slap his ass.
yeah, I know.
Real quick.
No, literally when they were singing though, did you see the way the other men were they weren't jazz handing, but they were like gyrating?
I know, they were really like
I'm like, what
vibing
is
with
this?
it.
Dream Girls? What the fuck are these guys
The
doing?
director was just like holding up a sign like gayer.
Which is why I think Top Gun would make a great musical if someone wants to do it.
I would
my
love
God.
to see that more than anything.
I think Top Gun could be in it. Imagine them like pretending they're in a plane and like running around with their arms.
Just like
they
or
do
like
like
the on screen like meow.
And they're like, highway. It's like all like Broadwayed out and shit. Dangerous up. I love that idea.
they could do some sick like choreographed lifts.
Yes.
Yeah, there could be so much towel slapping and snapping, you know?
I know.
So
that
much
would
ass.
be
They
amazing.
could do a whole song where they're smacking each other's ass for the bass.
I
Because
want,
that happens enough in the movie to justify it.
I want a number where they're wearing just the jeans.
Yes.
On the beach?
On the beach.
It's a
Play
musical.
with the boys?
And that's the song.
There's a great line in this film. It's a throwaway line, but it's amazing to me. I love it, and I think about it all the time. Where somebody's like pissed about something that happened on the base, and he's like, "I want butts, and I want them now." And I really want that to be the title of a song in this Top Gun musical.
Oh my
It kills
God.
me. And then of course, the end of Act 1 is Goose's death, right?
Which is really
course.
like
insane.
if I love how much it emotionally shook these two.
Yeah, like they did not see it coming, and that is like the beauty of Top Gun to me.
And they were having such a good time too. Like they were like, "Oh my God, this is so great!"
Right,
and
we're
you and I
playing
are
with
just
the
sitting there, like,
boys. Like knowing it's
you
coming.
have no. It's like in. Well, I don't want to review a different movie and give it away, but
This is like gayer than Brokeback Mountain.
It really is in like an amazing
because
way.
Isn't it?
I almost feel like Brokeback Mountain's more a story about two people in love, two souls in love,
Yeah.
and the whole gay thing. It just has to do more with like them having to deal with people's ignorance and shit.
Right.
Whereas this movie feels like there's an undertoning line that like.
This
The,
movie is
the Navy's gay. Like they're like listen, people are gay.
Like,
it
this
feels like the
movie is
story is trying
about
to tell.
being gay.
That feels like the story is about telling people that people are gay.
Right.
Like that's what it feels more like.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it's so like popular with straight men, even though they miss the point. But like maybe they're like, oh yeah, gay people can be people too.
I don't think.
I
I
don't
think
think so.
most straight men who like this movie will contest that it's gay. Why? I don't know why. I love this movie and I'm a straight man, and it's the gayest movie we reviewed.
I think this was army recruitment for the gays.
right. And then oh God. And then the end of this movie is ridiculous because he like up and decides like, yes, I want to be in the Navy. And he like shows up at the graduation, and then all of a sudden the Soviets, they're here. You have to get in the air right now.
So ridiculous, yeah.
Like he has to get in the air right now to like fight this big battle as he's fighting his own inner battle.
Yes.
Related to Goose's death.
Yes.
And then he has to learn how to cooperate with Iceman.
Iceman, indeed.
And they beat the Soviets. And then this is where the film ends to me.
Yeah, dude, love
a scene-
wins.
Yeah, correct. There's a scene after this, but it doesn't matter because this is the ending of the film where Iceman and Maverick, they have this moment after they've done it and they're like all cheering for each other and clapping each other on the back and having a grand old time. And Iceman says to Maverick, who he has never trusted up until now, he says, you can be my wingman anytime. And Maverick says, no, you can be mine. And that's gay.
That's gay jealousy
And
right
that's
there.
gay rights.
It really does
Like,
feel like that.
Maverick finally allowing himself to be supported by a man, like and cherished and loved, you know?
And I know the motorcycle scene's iconic and all,
Yeah.
but come on. The ending of the movie is exactly what you just said.
Right.
Nobody cares about the emotional resonance of this random girl he fucked one time being off in the shadows like, I guess you really are that great. Let's go
Yeah.
live together and shit. I know you know pretty much nothing about me, but let's do this.
I remember.
But then like the fact that he chooses, because then they tell him that he can go wherever he wants, and he says, I want to teach at Top Gun. The source of all of his gay lust is where he chooses to remain. He could go anywhere, and he's like, I want to be here with the boys.
Let's play with the boys.
Let's do that.
after watching this movie, I just was like, Madison really likes military gay movies.
Name a second movie.
The Lighthouse, aren't they like in?
They're
the,
not military.
No
Not
military.
necessarily.
Naval, maybe.
Yeah,
But not really, though. Are
She
they? I
likes-
thought they were hired for a job.
she likes naval
Yeah.
They were.
gay movies.
Sure.
Correct me
Why
if I'm
not?
wrong.
If you just said she likes gay movies, I think we'd cover it.
Yeah.
I just really did not expect this to be this gay.
Or it might have also had this good because I know you liked it.
It was great. I had a great.
a lot of people
time.
think it's just campy 80s
And it's
movie,
not.
but it's
Like, it's
actually a pretty
actually a
good
very
movie.
good-
Because
movie.
I've never seen it, but like I work a retail job and we like sell a Top Gun shirt. That was like the extent of what I knew Top Gun to be.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's not just like campy 80s
Yeah,
action.
what's
It's like
so funny-
so much more than that.
What's so funny about Top Gun though is all the men you see wearing Top Gun shirts, they like work at like a garage and are like very like
Yeah.
masculine. But like, I want to ask them, do you know the sensuality message of this film? And also, is that why you like it? Because,
Right, because-
maybe the reason why people might like Top Gun is because it's actually really sensual, sensitive story, but it's covered in masculinity. So maybe some dudes who feel like they can't get that somewhere, gay or straight, are like, this movie's for me because I can be emotional, and also it's targeted towards me.
And like gay shit aside, like Maverick really has to like get in touch with himself and the way that he's feeling in order to like make these decisions.
Yeah.
And when his friend dies, he's not able to fly anymore until he like reconciles within himself his feelings.
Yeah.
And like gay shit aside, I mean that's all gay too, but but gay shit aside, like that it is an emotional, like it is a sensitive film.
That's
it's
what
not,
I wonder.
It's not all airplanes and guns.
That's what I
That's
wonder.
a good part of it.
What is the percentage of people who are Top Gun fans who only like it on the base level where they don't really understand what it's trying to say? And how many are fans of it because of how much it has to say?
I would love to know.
It's a good question because the Top Gun fan base is very scattered and random.
It is.
I'm pretty sure Billy Bob, Mr. Construction Guy,
I've definitely
goes
sold,
into your work and buys Top Gun shirts, but then Madison's also like a Top Gun shirt.
Right?
Fuck
Like,
yeah.
I've definitely
I do
sold
want
like
a Top Gun shirt.
a Gas Monkey Garage shirt and a Top Gun shirt to like the same person
Nice.
before.
Yeah, exactly.
And like,
But
there's also Madison, exactly.
But Madison's not an outlier. This is very accepted as a very gay movie.
yeah, like people accept
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Quentin said it
I was
himself.
gonna say you should watch Quentin's video on Top Gun.
Yeah.
Y'all. We should link that in the description if we think about
I'll
it.
link
Yeah.
it. I'll link it.
I
got you. Understood.
I want to see it. I've never seen
It's
it.
great. It's hilarious. What was I gonna say? Oh, I almost like we were in a Halloween store, me and Bridget, and there were like Top Gun costumes, and I thought it would be really funny if me and Bridget did a Top Gun couples costume.
Like a couple costume.
Yeah,
I think
I
that
kind
would
of
be the
wanted
best.
to, but we had already chosen our costumes. Chosen.
It'd be really funny to see like Bridget in like a little Top Gun with like a huge helmet. I think that
like
alone is
an-
funny enough for me. Or like
in
the
aviators,
giant
yeah.
aviators.
Oh my
Get
God.
like cartoonishly big aviators.
Oh my God,
I know.
that just gave
should
me
get-
like flashbacks. So in my
You're right there.
yeah, probably when I was in 6th grade, we did like this like wax museum thing as a school.
What was it
Like,
called? A wax what?
wax museum? No, don't make fun of the
A museum?
museum.
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 Listen,
Wax museum.
I'm from Kentucky. I'm sorry.
We should do House of Wax.
Anyways,
That would be great.
listen to
I've
this
been
shit.
saying that.
So we were the wax figures in the museum. It was like a school project.
What?
Yeah. And we had I was Amelia Earhart. and we had it was like the big like 6th grade history
my
project.
God.
Like we took up the whole cafeteria and we all had to like stand with these like
I
intricate
was gonna say what? You
backgrounds.
just had to stand there.
You had to stand there perfectly still, and then you had like this little like wood button thing in front of you, and people were supposed to go up and press it with their foot, and then you're supposed to give like your presentation, and like you could only move around then.
But when you gave your presentation, did you ever was there ever like an ass who like press the button a couple of times?
Yeah, one of my friends came up and kept doing that. That was in
Amelia
another grade.
Earhart.
Because also like the other grades got to go through the wax museum.
Museum.
Ooh.
Museum.
Sorry.
It was horrible. It was
Yeah,
the
that sounds
worst.
awful.
It was
I think that
so traumatic.
So do you know anything about Amelia Earhart you could share?
No, I just remember my parent like curled my hair like aggressively to make it look short because I had really long hair, and then like shoved it in a hat.
You look like a bunch of Funyuns.
Oh my god.
I've got thick hair too, so it was just like aggressively curled.
That's
And
hilarious.
those little tiny like curler things that you knot in your hair at night, and
Yes.
then shoved in a hat.
I still feel cheated. You have no Amelia Earhart facts.
I got none for you.
I got a
know,
virtual wooden box right here. Go.
She disappeared.
She did.
She
that,
gone.
yeah.
She gone.
like where'd she go?
Earhart, if
I
you're
don't
out
know.
there.
Gone.
I think
If
she
you're out
wore
there, please
tan.
subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/crosscutcinema. Thank you.
Yes.
Amelia.
Twitter.com/crosscutcinema.
Amelia, please
Yes.
reach out. We'd love to have
What
you
do
on.
you think about Top Gun?
What do I think about it?
No, Amelia.
Oh.
Amelia.
Amelia, yeah, that'd be a good question. She probably,
Like,
she probably
imagine-
has a lot to say about the plane stuff.
Right, like those things. Like, you know, if you could dine with any historical figure, who would it be? Like Amelia Earhart, only so that I could like ask her what she feels about Top Gun.
Oh my god.
When did she disappear?
Okay. This movie
What? I don't
is a
couple years ago.
9 out of 10.
Years ago?
Wait, what happened?
Bridget, just when she disappeared, and I said a couple years ago.
It was a while ago, Bridget.
It was a couple years.
No, I just didn't know.
A
Nobody
few.
knew.
Hey,
We'll
Franny,
look this up later.
when did Amelia Earhart disappear?
I have no fucking
You're
clue.
the worst wax
Wow,
figure
see, you
ever.
learned nothing.
You should never be in a museum.
You know what? I quit.
Okay.
I'm leaving. Goodbye.
All right, guys. What else do we have to say about Top Gun? I feel like we kind of.
It's amazing.
It's
Yeah.
great.
It was so
it's
fun.
my favorite movie, and
We're gonna review the sequel when it comes out. Whenever that happens.
like honestly, I reject a Top Gun sequel that does not like involve a gay kiss. If there's no gay kissing in Top Gun 2, Maverick,
There definitely won't be. I promise.
I know it's just upsetting.
They're gonna be like they're gonna try to really take away what that original.
I know.
feeling
I think
was.
it's gonna be aggressively heterosexual and probably pretty bad, but I'm definitely gonna see it.
Yeah, I mean you can't
Yeah.
not see it.
So yeah, catch us on the next review of Top
But
Gun
how
2:
shocked would you be if it's
Maverick.
like Top Gun Maverick opens, and Maverick he's sitting there and he's like shaking and he's having like a nightmare, and like he's freaking out, and then like you just see like a hand like gently on his arm like,
and it's Val Kilmer.
and it's Val Kilmer's like, is everything okay?
I would scream.
I bet there's fanfic.
I'm
definitely.
sure of it.
Val Kilmer is not Val Kilmer anymore though. He's totally lost. Like he's had
He's
a lot
lost
of
that love and feeling.
No, he's like lost a lot of his health. He like isn't in an acting thing anymore.
no,
He
I
can't
know.
really talk. So
Yeah.
Val Kilmer can, but
Someone Val Kilmer-esque.
Robert Downey Jr. maybe
Ooh.
that'd be good. That'd be good. Somebody who's got a real aggressive male energy to be
Yes.
so like Dwayne the Rock Johnson maybe.
Oh my god, if it was just Dwayne.
Dwayne's, but then you know because his hand's so fucking big it covers Tom
Or
Cruise's
like
whole
Vin
body.
Diesel is just there.
Vin Diesel would be
Would
the
that not
best.
be amazing?
Oh my god, because he's so creepy. He's such a creepy individual.
His vibes. The
Have you
energy he
seen that
brings.
interview he had with that girl? He's like, you can't even interview me. You're so beautiful, and he like harassed her the whole time.
Ew.
Yeah.
Vin Diesel's fucking
What?
disgusting.
Yeah.
So to cast him would be the most insane thing ever.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I
Or
cannot
like Bradley
wait.
Cooper. That's a good one. Bradley Cooper would be good. Somebody's got to be like still pretty and like still aggressively like male and gay. You know what I mean?
Brad Pitt always gives me gay energy.
But see, Brad Pitt's like,
But it's like too easy to do Brad
and also
Pitt.
that's like too big of a star.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
you need,
true.
You need
Right.
a lower
You need a little
actually because
bit.
they're gonna kill this one too.
Oh yeah.
This is
for
Goose number
sure.
2, baby. They're gonna kill him again,
Yes.
and then we're gonna see like the real Danger Zone.
Yeah. I can't wait for that.
I love how we're reviewing 2 gay movies.
Make
in
it
this
Ving
episode,
Rhames.
too.
Make it Marcellus Wallace. That'd be a good
Oh
one
my
too.
god, I would
Because
lose
I
my
love
shit.
Ving Rhames. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
All right, guys. What do we rate Top Gun?
9 out of 10.
10 out of 10. It's the most movie ever made. Like, isn't it though? Isn't it the most movie ever made?
I don't
They
necessarily
really
agree.
shoved
I mean,
a lot in there.
There's so much.
It's like, it reminds me, sometimes my grandpa will take everything in his kitchen and throw it in his pressure cooker and just let it become something. And that's what this movie is.
Top Gun is such a pressure cooker of homosexual
This is
tension. that it
an
makes-
Italian grandpa dish of a film.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to say 9 out of 10.
This is like 7.5 out of 10.
Only a 7.5. What the fuck is wrong with
Honestly, I just feel like they should have went all the way.
you? I wish that they had, but I love what we
if they
got.
cut her out of it, it'd be much.
They
higher
did the
for me.
wrong
really
sex
would.
scene.
That's so true.
I stand by that, not to even be a joke, but it's just it's unrealistic. It's not a realistic love interest. It really
I
that
agree.
really is the problem with the film. All gayness aside, the love interest aspect of
It
it
just is
feels
like-
so forced and random.
Right.
yeah, it is a stronger movie
He
without
just wanted
it.
to play with the boys. What's the big deal?
Correct.
All right, guys, when we come back, we'll be reviewing Tenet. See you in a minute.
Gay rights.
Bye.
Another gay movie.
Are you talking right now? Like, are we?
Yeah.
Hello.
I mean, we're recording.
Hello, Tenet. Hello, everyone.
Well, Bridget said something about his name is somebody, and I just didn't know what was
She was
going on
talking
there.
about our group chat that is not related to the Christopher Nolan feature Tenet. Pretty much the only big blockbuster release of the year post COVID. Thank you.
It's
All right,
like-
I got it out.
It's
I
like
got it
so
out.
upsetting.
Yeah.
Not that like oh all we get is Tenet, but like just that all we get is Tenet. Like
No, I get that.
you know what I
completely.
mean? It's not like I wish I had things that were not Tenet. I mean I do wish I had things that were not Tenet, but not because Tenet is bad.
I mean, we
Just 'cause
didn't.
I wish I had things.
We didn't see New Mutants. We still can. That's still a theatrical release.
Isn't there
guess
like
that's
some
true.
horror movies
It's
too?
a horror movie that's based upon Marvel, especially X-Men characters.
Yeah.
But there's some other horror movies out
I
as
think
well,
there's
but
others.
none
I
that
do-
I really am super interested in.
There's
seeing.
that one that's made by the same guy who made Stir of Echoes, and it has Kevin Bacon. So if you guys really want us to review that, I can't remember what it's called, but it's kind of big.
Yeah, just let us know.
I mean, I hate Kevin Bacon a little bit, so that should at least afford you some sort of comedy.
And Stir of Echoes is fucking ridiculous. I can't believe it exists.
Me and Bridget went to a movie theater the other day, and we actually saw The Exorcist in theaters, and that was like really fun.
That's
so
fun.
It was. I'd
you
never
can
seen
still
it
do
before.
things like that, but
I mean, I got it on Blu-ray at home, so I only go to the theater if it's something that's gonna be new or like really awesome, like like some sort of midnight release. Those are really fun.
we were just bored.
Yeah,
you know?
we were bored. There was nothing to do.
Kinda hung out
We were
with
the
Neeb or
only.
whatever.
I mean,
No, we
couldn't.
were supposed to, but then something happened. I think
That's literally why we went to go see the movie because
we were supposed to actually go and rewatch. See, it all ties in, listeners. Tenet that day,
That's right.
and we couldn't because something happened.
Yep, that's right.
And me and Bridget were like, well, we still want to go to a movie because we still got nothing to do, but we don't want to see Tenet again because we are supposed to do that with Logan. So we saw The Exorcist.
yeah, I went to the hospital that day.
Yeah,
That's what it
yeah,
was.
you did.
Yeah.
I'm okay now, by the way.
So at least we didn't go see Tenet without you because we could have
Yeah,
done
'cause
that.
I mean, that would have been fine too.
Madison
Yeah, we
was
didn't
like,
want to.
I have all my critiques and thoughts on Tenet. I think I got it the first round. I mean, for me.
Yeah, I mean, same. Like, I feel like I have pretty solid thoughts on it, but I also feel like I would benefit from rewatching it.
Yeah.
And I would like to do that, but
I'll tell you why right now it's a whole number lower than it should be. I'll tell you just right off the bat. This is some of the worst sound mixing I've ever seen in a cinema in my entire fucking life. I get that it's trying to add to the realism of the gunshots and everything being louder than people speaking. But if you're going to do that, give us some subtitles because a large majority of this movie, you're not catching the nuances.
yeah,
of
it
conversation.
was
I was
really
like, what the
so
fuck are they
difficult.
saying?
And I actually I thought that maybe it was just me because
No.
I hadn't seen a movie in theaters in a really long time, and when I watch movies at home, I always have subtitles on.
Yeah.
So
I
I was like,
wondered if it
maybe
was me
I just
too.
I have by always watching by virtue of quarantine, and now that I always watch movies with subtitles on, I have decreased my ability to process audio. And I think that might be a little bit of it, but I also think the sound mixing was kind of bad.
I mean, that's why oddly enough, I like seeing foreign films in the theater because they're going to have subtitles any fucking way.
I just really feel like all movies should just be subtitled.
Or there should, how there's auditory sensory versions of movies. Like they have movies where people with special needs or need to have the lights on due to like other illnesses and ailments. Those people have their own screening of films where you're allowed to get up and talk and walk around and stuff because people can't sit still or don't, or in some way mentally challenged to where they can't sit still for that long. Those screenings are a really good idea where they should pinpoint for specific groups like versions of films. I think they should have subtitled screenings of movies. I think that there should be at least one screening like that a day. I think
That's really
especially
smart.
considering the amount of deaf people in the country.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly feel like why do all theatrical releases just not have subtitles?
Well, because there's people who hate subtitles. Like,
And I don't
Right.
understand the hate for it though. Like, just don't look at it. If you process audio fine and you don't
Well,
need subtitles, just don't look at it. Just don't read
well,
it.
okay,
You
I
can
think-
make the choice not to
I
read
mean,
I
it.
think
it
that
does
you're
take
actually
up
making-
a portion of the screen.
I also think we're kind of doing the opposite argument because there's people who literally can't watch the movie because of how their audio sensory is if there's subtitles. There's people who have to hyperfixate on something changing on the screen.
Yeah, I mean,
So for those
there's-
people,
yeah, I guess
subtitles are a
that's
problem.
true. I guess that's a good point.
So I think that there should be, especially considering how often there's just empty screenings of movies. Like if you have to wait an extra week to watch the subtitle version, guess what we'll do? Exactly that. So if you need the whole first weekend to be all the same and then you do the audio visionary stuff and the subtitle stuff the next week, cool. I'm down with that.
I would actually literally pay like an extra.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't go pay outrageously extra, but like if my ticket costs like $2 more for me to be able to watch it with subtitles,
Yeah,
I would be
same.
in
Yeah.
there.
If Real D3D only cost me $3 extra, I'll pay $3 extra just to get the normal movie and subtitles.
Right. I would be on that shit like white on rice. Like I would be
Absolutely.
in there, no doubt, because I
For
love
sure.
a
I'm
I'm
subtitle.
excited to watch this movie with subtitles.
Yeah,
Correct.
same.
This
So I
movie
missed
will
so much.
improve. But,
Yeah.
but the fact is, it is an issue that he made.
Yeah, I mean there is a sound mixing issue.
He's got a fucking hard on for making sure that you can't understand his character's dialogues. You have The Dark Knight Rises. If you saw that movie in a small cinema like I did, Bane just sounded like he was going the whole time.
I mean, that is how he sounds. Yes.
Yeah. He fucking sounded like Doodle Bob or whatever his name is from SpongeBob the whole film. I didn't understand a fucking word Bane said. And then Inception, it was the same actor, different problem, where like all I could understand was the stuff Tom Hardy was saying. Everybody else in the room like, what the fuck are they saying? So Christopher Nolan's got that issue. Oh, and Dunkirk, don't give me
I was going to say
started.
Dunkirk has the same problem.
But the difference with Dunkirk is you can take the dialogue out of that movie and you still understand what's going on. At that point,
it doesn't make a good movie, but it still exists.
That's speculative. That's a subjective.
I was going to say, I'm not speculating on it. I saw it, but it is subjective.
It's a subjective
correct opinion.
Look at it. Whatever. No, actually, I do think you have a point. I think that if you're gonna pass it off like it's an actual feature film and not just like an interesting spectacle like a roller coaster, I think you need to have working dialogue in the film.
Yes.
Or at least some sort of storytelling element other than that went boom and then that went boom.
I think in general, Christopher Nolan is like increasingly throughout his career tending towards spectacle over substance, which is a choice. Like you can make it, but I don't necessarily agree with it all the time.
Well, the issue is that this movie, the issue is that this is the big difference why I actually think in some ways this is worse than Dunkirk, and hear me out. Not in so much of the quality of the film, but in the execution that he gave. The reason why this movie is such a problem for me is that he had an incredibly interesting story with interesting characters and great dialogue, but he ignored it for spectacle.
Yeah.
With Dunkirk, all he had was spectacle. So when the other things were kind of ignored, it's like, well, okay, these were weaker parts of the film. Instead of improving upon them, he wholesale ignored them. With this film, what was better than the showingness of it and like the spectacle of it was the actual story. This is an incredibly interesting story. And he kind of just fucked it out. I mean, as it goes on, it gets easier, but especially the beginning, you're like, what the fuck are these people talking about?
And that's when you need to know what they're talking about, too, because they're explaining the whole movie.
And it's not that what they're saying is incoherent. It's that you cannot hear it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you would benefit so much from just being able to hear the dialogue more.
And here's the thing. Like, I understand, like, everybody took that film class where they talk about how Social Network's perfect because the party scene, you can barely hear what they're saying and all you hear is the music because that's realism. That's how a party is. When you go to a party and the music's booming, you have to scream to the person in front of you so they can understand what you're saying. I get that's what he's going for. He's going for a realistic way that these people would sound. But it cannot interfere with the storytelling.
Right. I was going to say that's one scene in Social Network.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a movie where you need the dialogue, too. You're going to be fucking lost.
That's why, for me, I think his execution of Dunkirk actually is better than his execution in this film, even if it's a worser movie. Like, it is worse.
I mean, like... Yeah, there's like, I don't know. I have mixed feelings because like I liked Tenet.
I did too. I loved it.
Me too.
I liked it a lot, but then there was stuff that was like, man, I feel like I would just get so much more out of it if like it had been
so
like this.
Complex. This movie, first of all, this is supposed to be a public popcorn movie. This movie is incredibly selective with people who will understand it and enjoy it. This movie is really in depth and confusing, and it's supposed to be. I mean, it comes off like it was directed by fucking Richard Kelly.
You have to focus.
Points.
Like if you get up and go to the restroom during this movie, you're gonna be leagues behind. Bridget went to the restroom for literally
the
less
worst
than
scene.
5
minutes.
minutes.
The worst time to go to the
scene.
bathroom because it was a scene where everything began to make sense.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to start making sense. I just
You're like, this thing's probably never going to turn out.
I was just like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
You were so fast too, because our theater was like right next to the restroom, and by the time you came back, it was all done.
It was done. Like the moment where things were clicking together just was lost.
Like I was like, what did I miss? And Madison just looked at me and like shook her head.
I mean,
so I think that I think we can all agree that our final opinions of this film are still in the air, but we need to talk about it.
It's just funny. I was just thinking about like how to explain this movie if somebody gets up at any given point and goes to the restroom and comes back. Like I wouldn't really know what to say at any point during this movie
I was just
what
like,
was going on.
Well, like especially because like it's a movie theater, you want to be quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, we were the only ones in there, but yeah.
Like I knew what was going on to enough of an extent that like I could follow the movie, but like I couldn't articulate it.
Literally, like it's
Right.
such a shame this is an audio podcast because the only way I can explain it is almost through hand gestures. I was like looking at Bridget's like, so like he was here and then he was going this way, but then this happened and now he's going this way. And now there's two of them. Like, you know,
That's a pretty good description of this movie.
yeah,
Yeah, but I feel like it was probably lessened
it
because there's no.
didn't work for the setting.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some of the things that I thought were kind of weak, other than just the audio. Because we're gonna kiss this movie's ass toward the end. Because the thing that we want to talk about is how great it is. But there's things that I want to say that I think I should get off my chest.
Yeah, I really liked this movie, but there are just things that I wish were different.
First of all, because we're gonna get into spoilers, so this is a spoiler podcast. So don't get mad if we spoil it for you. The main villain, the main antagonist. They could have found somebody who a much better actor than this gentleman.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he just like wasn't really.
He was not menacing enough for how big. I mean, he's gonna undo existence.
And then
I mean, he's literally Thanos, even more so. And he is pretty much like that guy at the bar who like is way too into like continually drinking past when they're closed. Like that's the full antagonist we get. It just doesn't feel like enough.
For me too, like I just feel like his character just wasn't enough.
It was weak.
Because like he had a motivation for what he was doing, but like I just could not understand it as a motivation good enough to end humanity.
I agree. That was what I was going to say.
And like to me, you know, this is like a really good reason to end humanity in like a Spider-Man animated film, you know? Like it's like very well, no, I'm just saying like it's like he's on like a comic book villain level while everybody else is like on a like James Bond level.
Yeah, like biggest thing is this movie passes like its inception or like it's science fiction. This is an espionage Bond-like film.
Oh yeah, like this is
They paid John David Washington so sexy in all those different suits and the lighting.
I like me myself thought that John David Washington was sexy. Like I was like in the theater having doubts. I was like, oh my god, like he could get it. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
You were so into it. It was so funny.
He was like dripping at every moment.
Yeah. They were like, you're wearing a cheap suit, and it's just like easier to tear off. Better to tear right off your body. No, he was cool. They painted all these gentlemen, as far as like the protagonists, like Art Pats and everything.
He looked amazing.
Aaron Taylor Johnson, who is not believable at all as a military man. The third military guy plays Kick-Ass, if you know him from this.
Right, yeah.
Not believable at all. I did not buy him as a serious person, but that's fine.
The cat character, she did good.
Yeah, she was fine.
Yeah, I liked her. She's pretty good.
She was pretty like unremarkable, but not anything like that.
It could have been replaced by anybody.
But
I mean, this movie like, and I really liked it about this movie. It felt very like a Bond film, like a very like sci-fi James Bond moment.
The issue is that's not how they marketed it.
Right.
I mean, this movie's marketed terribly. The stuff that has to do with the time travel thing is in 5 minutes of the opening. And then in the last half hour, like big, but everything else in between,
it's like a spy movie.
Yeah, I mean it's legitimately total espionage. Like the character of like Michael Caine is in this.
Yeah, and it felt very Bond like too with like the setting. Like the settings were extravagant always.
Yeah, Michael Caine was kind of like an M-like character. Like you're gonna need to do this and get in with these people.
And then like everybody in the suits and like the cars and stuff. But I really liked that.
No, it was great. It was great in that regard.
Yeah, like it was like everybody's on this like sleek James Bond level, and then this guy is like Doc Ock. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. It just didn't feel right to me, and I just wish that villain was more.
Yeah, and then also There was a weird obsession, in my opinion. I mean, I think it works well with the film, especially since this is very much like a visual feature. Like this is all about what you're seeing and not exactly what you're getting. There was a weird fascination with fashion, in a good way. Yeah. It kind of felt like the old Bond features, where like they would show all the Armani suits and everything. Yeah, it was like literally Robert Pattinson's wearing a clef-way tie, like a tie that spins two directions. Mm-hmm. Like no practical. Like G-Man would have that, but he was like, I have to look hot while I assassinate people.
Right.
I find that
goddamn if he didn't look hot while he was assassinating people. True, yeah. So
it feels like very artsy too, because like a big point of the movie like takes point in an art gallery.
Yeah. It very much is like a it really is a beautiful like feature. It looks great.
It feels like it wasn't like Is this adapted from a novel? Because it feels like it is.
It felt like
I don't think it is, though.
It felt like the longest car commercial of all time.
But like in the best way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it did though.
Like I was waiting for Aaron Paul to be like, "Take your life." You know how he does all the I think they're Honda. I mean, I don't remember exactly what car, but he does all the voiceovers for them now. And then you take your family and you start your adventure. Like that's like the whole film. It feels like that.
Like it's like that Christian Mingle film that was like literally an ad for Christian Mingle, but this is just for like fucking
for like cars.
Honda cars.
It's for the 1%.
Yeah,
literally.
It's in like advertisement for like yachts. It's like advertisement for like all of these different things. Like you could have your own little personal art gallery.
Like I don't know about y'all, but like whenever I was a kid and I would watch like a James Bond movie, I would like totally have this elaborate spy fantasy life for like several days afterwards.
Yeah. I remember I was friends. I've always been better at making friends with girls. I don't know why. But I used to have this friend group in elementary school. And they were super into Totally Spies, and they'd be the spies.
I used to love Totally Spies. I literally used to do that shit. Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Is that just something
that's really sad? Like
it was a Cartoon Network show about 3 female spies,
and it was amazing.
Right? Because
it was actually kind of good. They should do a movie.
I remember showing.
Oh wait, Charlie's Angels didn't work out very well. Maybe they shouldn't do a movie.
I remember like I was looking and I saw a tattoo. It was Totally Spies inspired. I was like with Madison and Franny at the time, and I showed them, and Franny was like, "I don't know what the fuck that is," and I was like,
"Yep,
what are you?"
I don't.
I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
I'm looking at pictures and I don't even like.
I was so upset.
Wow.
But yeah, no, like.
But yeah, it just like gives you those like good James Bond spy like.
And it was refreshing.
Be a spy.
It was refreshing in that regard because we were so excited for No Time to Die, and.
I know. Right. I was so upset when, like I said, when we saw The Exorcist the other day, we were walking through the theater and looking at posters that have release dates that never occurred.
Yeah.
And like I saw No Time to Die, and I was like, man.
What sucks is we were 2 weeks out from No Time to Die when
those
it got canceled.
Those would be cool posters to have one day. I wonder if
like
those are gonna go for like money someday.
I'm sure. Well, what about all the bags of like popcorn and bugles and stuff in like the grocery store that have movie promotions that didn't come out?
Or like the Olympics that didn't happen too.
Yeah, those Gatorade bottles with the Olympic performers that didn't ever go to the Olympics. Pretty interesting stuff. I mean, it's a weird point in time, but I don't want to get caught up in too much of that.
Yeah, I mean, but like seeing this movie was just weird because it was like weird to go back to. And
were we the only people in the theater?
I don't know.
No, there's one other group.
Yeah, you're right. There's I think another couple.
Yeah,
there was like barely anybody in there. Yeah, I mean, it was. I don't know. I just feel like this movie could have been great, but as a result of really simple choices that every other movie gets right, they were just good. He excelled at things that are incredibly difficult, but fell short on things that were incredibly standard and easy to accomplish.
Yeah,
I think that he forgets. Like
I don't think it's that. I think it's pretension.
I mean, I think that he's trying to go so big that he forgets to like also.
And this movie lost Warner.
Stop moving my mic.
Oh my God, this movie lost Warner so much money.
Really?
I did it.
This is the most expensive Nolan film that he's ever made.
Wow.
That's including Batman, Dark Knight Rises.
That's crazy.
They exploded an entire fake football field for Dark Knight Rises.
I don't understand why they I'm glad that they did because I got to see it, but I don't understand why they went ahead and released it.
Well, it's because he was very intent on it possibly getting Oscar notoriety, but also the way Warner's like scheduling works out is that they can't start working on a certain other movie until this other one's contract is fully loaded up. And he did not want to release it during a part of the year where people were going to be back to working and like not during the summer anymore. So I think he released it, the first week of September while people were still
Yeah, I mean, because we saw it around my birthday, so.
Yeah.
So it was still enough time to where kids weren't back in school yet and all that stuff because of COVID, or at least not full time.
I don't know what kid would understand this movie.
It doesn't matter.
I know.
I mean, like their parents just want to take their kids out. So he's like,
right.
Their thought process is, what parent's not going to want to go see Tenet plus just bring their kids so they can get them out of the fucking house?
Yeah.
And I mean, it did better than most movies did, but it still lost them a shit ton of money.
Yeah, and I mean, I think
it was a gamble.
Yeah, and I mean, I do think that there were probably marketing issues with this movie for sure because this movie was not marketed as the kind of movie that it was. Like, I did not expect the level of like espionage and stuff to go on. I was pleasantly surprised.
I don't know. I feel like
I know you said you were gonna hate it, and I think you might have even liked it more than I did.
I think I did too. Mm-hmm. I think I definitely liked it more than you. But yeah.
I feel like my viewing would have been benefited by going to the bathroom, like even just
at any other moment in time.
Right? Yeah. Even
we can say that, but
maybe not.
I just know that for a certain period of time, this movie lost me, and it wasn't that there wasn't anything compelling happening. It's that they weren't really trying very hard to make me give a fuck. Like, it was the movie was great and all, but I want to care about the characters individually, and when I can't even understand what they're saying, that's a huge issue.
And I mean, I think that this movie like did have a moment where like in the beginning it's okay, like you don't expect to understand everything.
No, and also in the beginning it is pure spectacle at that point.
Yes. And then you kind of get to a point around the middle where it's like things should be making sense, but they are not.
This movie also starts very abruptly. I remember we were all like, did the movie start? Like, what is going on? For a good while, too.
Right.
It definitely takes you on a journey before it lets you know where you're going.
And, like, so it's one of those things which, like, I've tended to struggle with, but I'm getting better at. It's just, like, allowing the movie to take me on the ride that it's taking me on and trying to figure it out later. I
really love John David Washington in this. I think considering the year, he actually stands a good chance if they have the Academy Awards to being nominated.
Yeah.
I mean, he was really great, and he had to carry so much on this movie, not even on his dialogue or monologuing or anything. He had to carry completely on physical acting because pretty much that's what everyone was paying attention to.
Right.
Yeah.
Not so much Arpats. I think he was okay in this.
I liked him. I think he did a good job.
I think he was all right. I liked him. I liked him better in other things recently. I think he was just okay. And the sequences in this movie are almost good enough on their own to declare this as a good movie. Like, the sequences, especially like when he goes back in time for the first time and he has the breathing apparatus, like that whole sequence is almost good enough on its own to declare this not a bad movie. Because like that alone is so
I mean, I wouldn't call it a bad movie.
But I'm saying, like, even if you hated everything else, like those sequences almost make it like this was objectively a well-crafted film officially. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm following you.
Yeah, it did have some like really great. And I mean, all the like car chase sequences and stuff were amazing, and it was really cool. And like what I was saying before, you know, it was hard to follow what was going on, but then once you understood it, like so much made sense, and it was really satisfying. So I don't even know if I didn't like. I don't know. I don't want to say that I didn't like that I couldn't understand it, because I understand like that's what's it's meant to do.
I don't know if I agree with that though, because there's things in the plot
that still don't quite make sense to me.
And there's arguably scenes where things are said and you have to know what they're saying to understand what's going on in the movie, because it's only being explained in dialogue right now.
Yeah.
But then he doesn't make the effort to try to help you understand it.
Yeah, and so like there are points around the middle where you're just like very confused, but if you're willing to like just let it happen with the knowledge that you'll understand later, then it's okay.
But the thing is, I think a lot of people are going to walk out of this and still not understand completely.
That's true.
Being that we're actually almost in that boat, because you guys were like, I think I need to see it a second time. That's an issue for me. I think if you can't get across the entirety of your film the first time, I mean, not to say that it shouldn't be improved upon rewatching. I think movies can have that effect where it's even better the second time you watch it. But it feels almost incomplete to me at points, because I just definitely didn't understand all motivations at all times.
Yeah. And like, and there are definitely like things that I would benefit from a rewatch, just having clarification on what exactly happened.
Why wouldn't our Pats know that already, that scene in which they're wrestling each other and fighting each other, that was himself? Why wouldn't he already know that, since he's actually from the future, or he's actually talked to the guy from the future already?
What do you mean that Arpats would know that he himself was
remember when Arpats was fighting himself?
Yes.
All right.
No, he wasn't fighting himself. I thought he was fighting John David Washington.
Either way, they were fighting John David Washington and Arpats.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They were fighting past version of themselves. Even if it was just John David Washington, he was fighting a past version. What is the course and reasoning to not know that that's already John David Washington?
No, he didn't know. That's because he didn't kill him on purpose.
No, he saw his face, and that's when he figured it out.
I think actually that's what I missed.
He saw his face.
I don't know.
I thought he did know.
No, he didn't know until he saw his face, and then he didn't kill him. Then the question comes, why didn't John David Washington's character already inform him at some point that was going to be him? What's the point of that?
Well, John David Washington wouldn't be able to.
He would, because he's in the future. He already knows everything that happened, because he meets John David Washington in the future. Like, he meets old John David Washington at one point.
Right.
That's who starts him on this mission. Why wouldn't he warn him that at some point you're going to be fighting me?
Wait, no, he doesn't meet old John David Washington.
Yes, he does. That's
in the
who
future.
recruits him. That's who recruits him.
Yeah, but he recruits him in the past.
Yeah, but that's the older version of John David Washington who already lived through all this.
Oh, right, okay.
So why wouldn't he tell him?
Well, maybe it's the idea that, like, if I tell you, you'll alter it and then things won't work out.
Yeah, I think that's a.
But no,
theme.
that's already in itself an inaccuracy, because then that means that he already didn't tell him, which means he premeditatively already wouldn't tell him. You see what I'm saying?
No.
This is
Let's put it
over
this
my
way.
head.
Let me put it this way. If he already exists in the future in a cellular plane, right? Like, it already exists, like, time. He already exists as his older self, introducing himself to Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Okay. Then there's nothing stopping him substantially from telling Robert Pattinson that's him, other than the fact that it already happened. But the time's not linear. It's all happening at once, so that doesn't make any sense. My point is, that's an inaccuracy that could have been easily avoided by having Robert Pattinson never come into contact with that character.
But there was no way that he couldn't not, like, you know what I mean?
Yes,
'Cause
there actually
he had
was.
to be there no matter what.
No, but he didn't, because that's a point that Christopher Nolan wrote into this film that could have been easily avoided. That was this is a paradox that didn't have to exist.
But then at that point, though, Robert Pattinson would know that, but he couldn't very well explain it to John David Washington.
My point is, the script did not have to have Robert Pattinson come into contact with future John David Washington in the suit. It never had to happen.
But they both had to be there.
No, but he didn't have to be in the same situation, the same location as him when that happens. He didn't have to figure out that it was him at all. They did that in the story to later give you the reveal that he knew who it was. But that paradox didn't have to happen, and it's a paradox that's in the film.
I feel like it did have to happen.
It didn't, though.
I mean, I feel like Robert Pattinson and John David Washington had to be there the first time.
No. But
they had to be there.
But my point is, he didn't have to see that it was John David Washington. As far as, like, Christopher Nolan wrote that in to then later point out he knew that it was him the whole time. That's why he didn't kill him.
I mean, I guess, but I'm not mad about it.
But the thing is, that creates a paradox, even though the
I don't
film.
see how it creates a paradox.
Because then why didn't John David Washington in the future tell him that you were going to run into him?
Maybe he did, but nonetheless, he couldn't very well say that to present day John David Washington, who didn't even understand what Tenet was.
It has nothing to do with talking. We're talking about, like, however old, 40-year-old John David Washington talking to Robert Pattinson. Okay? We're talking about that particular situation. He did not. He could have and should have told him the first time around, whatever you want to call it, in the linear state of time, that you were going to run into me, don't kill me. But he didn't, for no good reason. And that's why it's a paradox, because it shouldn't have happened. That whole scenario, it's the only paradox I could find in the film that, like, actually doesn't make sense.
I mean,
and
I
it
guess
didn't need to be there. It was only there to reveal that Robert Pattinson knows what's going on, which you could assume. You could assume the whole movie that way, especially at the end when he goes, "You hired me in the past, well, the future you, but it was in the past for me." That scene already happened. So why make the paradox that doesn't need to be there?
Because it looks cool.
Exactly. Pointless. But
I'm not mad at it, though.
But that's
like,
what I
it's
am mad at,
fine to
because
me.
this movie prides itself on being so fallible and able to, like, able for you to, like, connect to what's going on.
But I don't really
then
think
it
that
isn't.
I don't see it as an issue. Like, because, like, for me, I wouldn't want to say something that could then
for a
disrupt.
movie so based on being logically, like, in this insane, like, backwards forwards bullshit, like, making such sense of it, like, you can't breathe in the past, we can't breathe while you're going through the past, all that stuff. For it to be so exact about everything, and then for it to make such a blatant paradox in the middle of the film.
But to me, it makes sense because, like you wouldn't want to tell him that because you wouldn't want to disrupt.
But
what was going to happen?
You're going back to, like, this already happening. Time is not linear. In other words, there is no universe in which he wouldn't tell him, but yet that universe is the only one that exists, and that's why it's a paradox.
I don't see how that's true.
It is true. Would you not warn somebody about almost killing you?
No, because I wouldn't want to alter the course of events. Like, what if that
course of
needed
events
to
haven't
happen?
happened. Time isn't linear. All of this is happening at once.
I mean, well, yeah, I guess that's
So
true.
it's a paradox within itself that doesn't need to exist.
I don't know. I just think it makes sense.
It doesn't. It only makes dramatic sense for the film to be interesting to have that moment. It doesn't make timeline sense, and it doesn't make script sense. It's just a nice dramatic moment that easily makes a paradox and brings down the film for me because everything else is so well thought out.
I don't know. I just maybe I just can't wrap my mind around it, but I think it makes sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Because and maybe that just didn't feel I don't know.
You
lost me.
It's a paradox. It's an absolute paradox.
I don't know.
There's no universe where you wouldn't tell the person, "Hey, you're going to almost kill me." And the idea is that it didn't already happen because time isn't linear. It's just what in the moment would you feel if there was a possibility of you dying or coming in contact with the past, you'd tell the person not to be there.
But can you not but even if it's still all occurring simultaneously, you can still affect outcomes.
Yeah.
But you can't because it's not linear. So that's my point. That's the paradox.
I mean, but if you die, but the whole thing was she was killed, and so they took her to the past so that she couldn't die.
For him to have an interaction like that, and to know that that was actually him, completely disrupts the entirety of their mission together. Meaning, John David Washington in the film, future him that recruits Robert Pattinson, knows the whole time what's going to happen. But that doesn't make any sense. Because then that would affect what Robert Pattinson himself does in general. But you can't affect what happens in the past because it all happens within the same pathways anyway. So him recruiting Robert Pattinson in the first place doesn't make any sense.
I think it makes sense for him to recruit Robert Pattinson.
No. In the sense that, yes, I misspoke. It does make sense for him to recruit him, but for him to not tell him the things that he needs to know.
But I still think that you can still alter the events that are happening even if they're happening
How? It's not
concurrently.
linear.
I mean, but it is in a way.
What?
Well, I mean, it's not linear, but you can still affect the events that are happening concurrently.
You can't.
Because with the one girl, she was shot. And they took her to the past so she wouldn't die.
Then it would be a paradox because that was what was always going to happen. Because then it'd be a paradox, and then John David Washington would never get to the point where he hires Robert Pattinson because the future would be altered, or he wouldn't be hired in the exact same way. Things would have changed, thus resulting a different future. So
right.
You can't.
So perhaps if he had told Robert Pattinson,
but that doesn't make any sense. Is my point.
Then it would have resulted in a different future.
But that's the thing, is that situation wouldn't ever happen. That's a paradox within itself.
How would that situation not ever happen? If it's happening concurrently, then all the situations could happen.
Because he would never not tell himself that he's going to almost kill him.
Why would he never not tell himself that? Why as a character would he not do that? You don't know him. You don't.
Why would? Okay, we're going around.
We've
in
talked
circles.
about this way too long.
That's my problem with the movie, is that it's terrible in that regard. That's the worst part about this movie, is that it makes a whole lot of sense until there's certain things done for dramatic effect. But there can literally be no drama. Robert Pattinson can't be afraid of almost dying because he knows what's going to happen. Because he knows what's going to happen. He knows that he's going to live and that John David Washington's going to grow old and recruit him in the first place.
And I would agree that he's not afraid of dying.
He is afraid of dying multiple times in the film, especially during that war sequence. He thinks he's going to die.
But then if he died, that would alter the future.
That's why he's not afraid of that's why he shouldn't be afraid of dying, but he is. Because you can't alter the future.
Yes, you can. If it's all happening at the same time, events that are happening.
Then he wouldn't be there because he would have never been recruited in the first place.
But it's all happening at once.
But it's not, because it's not linear like that. Or
you just said that it was.
No. It's he would. Okay. See, this is the problem with time travel stuff right here.
I know. It always happens.
Why would Robert Pattinson be afraid of dying if he's already there in an outcome that's already happened? He wouldn't be in this existence unless what happened with John David Washington happens.
But that's looking at it linearly, though.
No, it's not. It's looking at it in the same living space. Everything has to exist all at once for that to be the outcome.
But if everything's happening concurrently, then anything that's happening in any other time rather than the one that he's in could instantly affect him.
Then why would he ever be afraid of dying? Because it's all happening concurrently. It's all happening at the same time.
Because if he fucks something up in a different time,
he can't fuck it up. No, because no matter what happens, it's going to go in the same timeline.
I have to disagree.
I think that you
I
have.
get what you're saying now. I get what
But
you're
if it's
saying.
all
now.
I get
happening
what
at
you're
once.
saying. I can't engage.
All right.
I can't.
This is the
engage
difference between
either.
consequential time travel and multiverse time travel. There is no multiverse in this universe. Everything's all happening at once. They've laid out that all futures remain the same, right? So
They haven't laid out that all futures remain the same. That's the whole point. They're trying to save the future.
it's, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not, there's not like a multiple dimensions style of existence. The same John David Washington he's talking to
Yeah.
is the same guy. There's no alternate universe John Davids.
Yes, correct.
They can't interact with one another because it's not a multiverse. They can't
Right.
There can't be two versions of the same guy. It'll like fuck up existence.
Yeah.
That then proves it's not a multiverse theory, which means that it's a consequential timeline. But then if that's true, then how on earth it doesn't matter. I'm getting all ahead of myself.
It does matter though, because if it's all happening at once, if it's all happening,
Then
then
it
anything that you do in any of those various moments of time, which are all actually happening, can affect what's happening in the moment that, you know what I mean?
But they would cave in on themselves. Like, wow, how? Okay, if our paths can die,
yes.
then he would never be recruited by John David Washington because it's consequential time theory.
And that's why he should be afraid of dying.
But then he wouldn't be there in the first place. It would have never happened because it's consequential time theory. Meaning, if he's there right now, that means he's already won. Because the consequential timeline has already said he'll go back and meet other
if he
John
were to
David.
fuck up, it would blip himself out of existence.
But that can't happen.
But it can.
Because it never did in the whole film. Nothing blipped out of existence. Everything went into the same path of time.
Well, I would argue that
And
that's
also,
a flaw because
that-
maybe there should have been consequences. But
that's
like,
my point, and that's why the film is filled with paradoxes, because there should be things that happen that would result in time irregularities and things not making sense and things skipping forward in time and stuff like that. There should be tons of ripples in time.
But so then
The only ripple shouldn't be the one man undoing his own death, like the villain. That should not be the only possible time ripple, because they make it clear it's consequential time travel, right? So if he changes things, he fucks up the whole universe.
Right. So then to me, if
So
I'm
then-
John David Washington.
So then how can Robert Pattinson be afraid? He's not fucking up the universe himself by being there. He's supposed to be there. He's supposed to survive, and he's supposed to be hired by John David Washington, thus meaning he should never have a fear for his own mortality, because no matter what, with this consequential time theory, he will exist.
But if it's all happening at once, if he did fuck up, then that would prevent it ever
But
from
he
having happened.
wouldn't have ever been there if he fucked up at all. John David Washington would never know to go hire him if he never successfully got through the mission.
But if during the mission he fucked it up, then like everything would just like it just wouldn't be.
But that
you
idea,
would still be afraid
you're
to
thinking
die.
about it in a linear way. You're thinking, what I'm saying is the events of later in the film, or not even in the film, in the future, could never happen if he ever fucked up, because it's consequential time theory, not multiverse. There's not multiple versions of the past. What happens no matter what, the same way.
Well, no, I know, but like,
So he can't be there.
But it's not set in stone, though.
Yes, it is. That's exactly what it is.
But because they change it, though, because they're able to take her back and make her live.
In this universe, John David Washington's future self has always, in this universe, gone back and had Robert Pattinson fix it with original him. That is always the course of action within this universe. Otherwise, it's not consequential time traveling. So he always did this. It always went this way. He always knew. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense, which means that Robert Pattinson could have never failed and should have always known that.
But no, because the thing is, it happens because he didn't fail. But if he were to fail, then it would not happen.
He can't fail because of consequential time travel. John David Washington wouldn't have made it out and been able to hire R-Pats if he failed in the first place. It's impossible.
Right, which is why he should be afraid to fail, because then he would make it not happen.
He can't, or he wouldn't be there in the first place.
Right, which is why he shouldn't fail,
But he
because it
can't
would make it not happen.
By the existence of him being there in the moment means he can't fail because he already succeeded, because he's
I would
there.
argue that he can't fail, because if everything's happening all at once, he could definitely fail.
No,
We've talked about this so long.
That would prove multiverse theory in
Are
time
you guys
travel.
okay?
That would prove the multiverse stuff. Yes, it would.
No.
Yes, it would. Because that means that there have been two divergent timelines, making them multiple verses. So
No,
the fact
they
that
wouldn't be divergent.
yes, it would. It would mean two versions, because that means that he failed in one past but succeeded in the one that John David Washington eventually recruited him for. In older John David Washington's life, the whole thing that happened in the past happened because he went and recruited R-Pats and knows that the same stuff's going to happen. If Arpats does something different and it fails, then
Then
that's
that
multiple.
never happens.
Then it's multiple universes, and which means that this is a multiverse storyline, which it isn't.
No, because it's all happening at once. So if it never happened, then it never happened, and Arpats is never recruited.
Exactly. So that makes 2 universes because there's one where he already is recruited. So that makes it 2 universes, one where he fails and one where he succeeds.
I guess
That makes it a multiverse. And the fact is, multiverses don't exist, which they lay out very congruently, that it's all consequential. Everything we do is a part of the same storyline. You can't interact with your other self. There is no multiple universes.
Like in Harry Potter.
Good God. But I just feel like... I still feel like it would, if he were to fuck it up,
He can't fuck it up. By logic, he could have never fucked it up. If he fucked up, then that's what was supposed to happen because he exists in this timeline.
But he could die.
No, he can't.
What if he just shot himself?
He wouldn't. Then that would undo the universe, like that guy fixing his ailments.
How would that undo the universe?
Because he did something that's not within the plane of what actually happened. And it would corrupt the universe, just like that guy fixing himself from dying.
But that's not what fucked the universe, right?
That's what would fuck. If the guy fixed himself from dying of cancer, he's undoing that, and that's what would upended the universe because there is no.
But was that what he was trying to do?
Yes. So he was trying because he couldn't live himself. He was going to end all of the universe.
Right. Yeah, but I didn't realize that he was trying to do it by healing himself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So as a result of that. Meaning there can never be any multiverse, which means that Robert Pattinson could never fail, which means his ass being all scared and stuff doesn't make any fucking sense.
Okay, I guess I see where you're coming from at this point. I feel like you've successfully explained it to me. This is like,
it's really complicated.
Very rare for this to happen for me to be like, okay, Logan, you've talked me into it.
I feel pretty good about that.
I feel like you've convincingly talked me into it. But here's my thing, though.
Yeah.
Here's my counter, which I will still hang on to.
Yeah.
Even if you know that by all logic you cannot die, you're still gonna quake in your boots.
No, that's the thing is that this movie had to decide to ignore the 2 paradoxes that are very clear because it had to have a dramatic effect. It had to be dramatic because ultimately when you really lay out this movie, it's somebody telling you some shit that happened and you already know the ending.
Well, I mean,
the movie itself concludes to you that everything worked by existing. So when you lay it out like that, it is not fucking interesting. So there has to be dramatic elements.
But it is for John David Washington who doesn't know. Yeah,
but the conduit for us is John David Washington. You're right. But by the end of the film, the conclusion you come to is, well, none of that was actually at stake. So that's why those dramatic moments in the middle help with you feeling that drama. Even though by the time the twist is revealed that he hired Arpats himself, you realize, well, that was just a big radio play. None of it mattered.
But it's still like if he didn't do it right, then it never would happen.
No, it already happened no matter what.
Okay. All right. Fuck. I don't know. But my point still stands that even if he had no logical reason to be afraid, you would still be afraid if somebody's hitting you, punching you, pointing a gun at you.
I don't know. If I knew I was going to live no matter what, I don't think I would be afraid. Imagine someone telling you that you're invincible and then proving it to you.
I mean, I still wouldn't want, I still would feel afraid if somebody was pointing a gun at my face.
If you knew you wouldn't die, no matter what?
But time is so fucky. What if they were wrong?
But they know that they can't be wrong. That's the whole point of why this guy saving himself would undo the universe.
I'm so lost.
I guess.
All right, if somebody told you now...
I understand, but I'm also lost, you know?
I'm just
No, let me explain this to Madison real fast. Let's say you jumped off a bridge and you knew you'd live. Wouldn't you be a little bit excited to get the rush of jumping off? You knew you were going to live and everything was going to be fine.
But how do I know, though? You don't know
because
until you know.
The rules of time travel that are already laid out in the film, the things that are already understood, especially for the character of Arpats, who met old, possibly handsomer, possibly sexier John David Washington.
Can we talk about how Arpats and John David Washington definitely fucked in the future?
They might have.
They definitely did.
They did.
They were definitely time travel boyfriends.
He
was the fucking time traveler's wife and the bitch.
I love it. Logan just almost spit his water.
Sexy.
Time traveler's wife is so bad, too.
Sexy silver fox John David Washington was visiting young
It just looked like Denzel
Arpats.
with a normal finger.
Yes. And he was visiting a young Twinkie Arpats
Yeah.
and different times throughout his life.
Arpats is just I wonder if I should wear my tie like this or normal. And he's like, hey, baby. Let me tell you something that will always be the same, and you'll never be afraid because it'll always be the same no matter what you do.
Okay, so all that.
Jesus Christ.
I'm glad that you're giving me this because I just like very publicly admitted to being incorrect about my understanding of the film, which I hate to do. So I'm glad you're giving me the gay rights angle.
Yeah, no, it's accurate.
Thank you. You said it wasn't at the time.
Well, the more I've thought about it,
He's coming
no,
around.
seriously. Like as much as you've realized the concept of the time travel, I've realized what an odd relationship to have.
Yeah, no.
Where one is clearly in the future, kind of mentored by John David Washington. Robert Arpats is mentored by John David, and then Arpats returns the like favor, but then returning and cultivating a relationship and being like a guiding light for John David. And the intimacy of knowing somebody pretty much your whole life.
And like knowing him before he even knows him.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's gotta, for someone who knows you better than you, there has to be some sort of relationship there.
Right. And if we're talking about like.
Remember, Arpats pretty much gave up his life.
Right.
So the mission of a younger version of somebody who came and hired him
would succeed.
goes according to plan.
Yeah. And like, why did it have to be Arpats, you know? Like, because it did.
And the idea of it being Arpats, because fate is always the same in a consequential timeline, fate is always the same. So for him to, he pretty much was their fate was to be together.
Yeah, that's what I was literally gonna say. Like, and if we're going by this logic, then like they were fated to be together.
Which is why it's actually a boring romance film and not a great action movie because nothing really happens out of the ordinary. Everything goes according to plan.
But you know what? It was the beginning and end of a beautiful homosexual friendship.
It was really too on the nose that he said friendship because a correct statement for a man who wasn't gobbling him would be, partnership.
Right.
But he said friendship.
It's a friendship.
He said that's the end of a good fuck. Like he pretty much was like, "You're my man."
And he was, and he's lucky.
Yeah, they both dress great.
They both look great.
They both look
They
great.
both are suave as fuck.
Dripping. Every scene, dude.
And I feel like it also explains like the weird if like there's a weird like already relationship the moment they meet up. Like there's an instant chemistry. And no point in the film did you ever think that you never thought John David was going to get with the lady's wife or the guy's wife.
Yeah, no, it never laid that on the table.
You also were constantly worried about the friendship of him and Arpats. When you realized that Arpats was not being totally honest, you're like, no.
Right, you're like, are they going to still be?
You were devastated. Why is that? Because they're in love.
Correct. Mm-hmm. So Tenet doesn't make a lot of sense, but gay rights?
Actually,
That's my
review.
review.
Makes kind of sense.
It makes sense. It's like a gay love story to the time.
The time traveler's husband. That's what they should have called it. Oh, I literally spit out water when she said time traveler's wife because that movie is so bad.
Yeah.
It's so fucking bad.
I want the sequel of like John David Washington and Arpats just like meeting through time and like falling in love with each other.
Just call it Tenants and it's about them living together in an apartment.
Oh my god.
Cute.
Tenants.
Oh my god.
Sorry we talked about but I feel like if people are coming to listen to Tenet, they're coming for the introspective look at time travel.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the movie offers you.
I think we came to an agreement.
Yeah, that very rarely happens.
It just doesn't happen very often.
It does not happen often. Oh man.
Like time travel like gives me anxiety and like really fucks me up to think about, and that's how I had to completely dissociate during that conversation. So I'm back now. Hello.
I feel like a lot of people are going to be pleasantly surprised with me actually understanding time travel, and also pleasantly surprised that I take note of the clearly gay relationship of these two characters.
And also pleasantly surprised that Madison comes around. That doesn't happen much. So
I know. I very publicly have said that I'll die on any hill, and I actually climbed down off my hill. I was like, okay.
You're like, well, I guess my hill's entirely made of wet sand, and his is made of a rock, so I better
I better.
But then you got off the hill and jumped directly into a gay wedding that was happening in the film.
You know what? That's just how it is sometimes.
And it's weird because, like, the cool thing about the film, too, and I just want to mention this, is that when Arpats is leaving, the film correctly gives you the vibe of, like, oh, no, now John David's without him. But that's not true. If anything, Arpats is now without John David. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're worried, like John David Washington, he's crying because he's losing his friend. His friend's going off to do his own thing. But in reality,
Wait, I thought Arpats was died.
No, he walked away.
No.
No.
Oh,
He
you're
had
right.
to
You're right.
walk
You're right.
away,
You're right.
yeah.
Yeah, he walked away. And it's like he said, this is the end of a friendship for me, but a beginning of one for you. You feel sad for John David Washington, but really, in retrospect, Arpaz is the one who's losing everything, and it's because he has to.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
of consequential time.
Yeah, I didn't think about the fact. I forgot like how the movie actually ended, but yeah.
Yeah, and so in a weird way, the time ripples that they had to create is what tears them apart ultimately.
Yeah, like what a tragic love story, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's really sad, dude. Oh.
Wow,
Because,
that
like,
gave
they
me
were-
like chills.
Yeah,
thinking about it like that.
they were together, and you know, such a big part of Arpad's life up to this point.
And there's only like 30 seconds where both are actually concurrently aware of how much they mean to each other, and that's the moments where they're saying goodbye in both, in both sections.
Damn, dude.
Arpaz doesn't fully understand the weight of John David Washington, seeing him as the older John David Washington. John David Washington knows in that moment, like, this is the last time that I'm going to see him. But then Arpaz realizes at the end of the film that this is the last time he's going to see John David, and there's a sourness and sadness to that. But they never feel it both at the same time.
Yeah.
Wow.
God
Dude.
damn.
That's some shit.
This feels like the moment, like the goodbyes in Brokeback Mountain.
There's going to be so many people who are like, this
Yeah.
isn't gay, and I'm just like, you know what?
It definitely is.
It's
though.
pretty
It's
fucking
very
gay.
gay.
It's
like,
gay.
fellas, what's gayer than traveling through time trying to save the world with your best buddy?
Yeah, with your little twink boy.
Nothing. Nothing's gayer than that.
You think John David's the one who did his tie for him before he went back?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
John David's like, here, this is how I liked it back then. Don't tell me that I liked it like this.
Like,
Yeah.
absolutely that happened, baby. You know it.
Yep.
Oh God. So who's out there writing the Tenet fan fiction?
Oh, there's got to be there. Like I
I'm
said,
sure it
the sequel
exists.
should be Tenants. I really do feel that way.
And it's just them like in an apartment, and like John David Washington pops in at different ages.
Because they actually broke controversial time theory. Like the world around them is just nothingness, but their one apartment's the only thing that exists together.
Yeah.
I love that.
They can't go anywhere. Like it's fucking Beetlejuice. They can't leave the house. 'Cause there's
Like
just nothingness
quarantine?
outside. Like quarantine. Yeah. It'd be an easy movie to shoot. Be super inexpensive.
Chris
Yeah.
Nolan would never.
What? Who? Christian Bale? He doesn't have to. Fuck him. He doesn't.
No, I said Chris Nolan would never.
Oh, I was like Christian. I was about to say, what does he have to do with this?
No, Christopher
You know what?
Nolan. Christopher
Christopher
Nolan
Nolan-
making an inexpensive movie these days.
Also, Christopher Nolan doesn't own the story anymore. It belongs to the people. It doesn't belong to him anymore.
Oh my God. It's our time travel story now.
Yeah. This is officially the gay time travel story. I don't know if there's really another one. So
Not,
is,
that,
uh,
I'm not that I'm aware of.
No.
Yeah, again, not as far as I'm aware. Though, if you can recommend me a gay time travel movie that's not this one, I would love to watch it.
Yeah,
That sounds
same.
right up my fucking alley.
yeah, I mean they have like the incest time travel movie with Back to the Future, but
No, I don't like that one.
That
That's
one's-
not gay.
that one's
That's
tough.
just weird.
I can't. There's not a whole lot of really. I don't know. Most time travel movies usually have to do with a relationship that's very heteronormative, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Franny's,
Most time travel
Franny
movies
is
are a
so
struggle.
tired she's sleeping on her microphone.
I'm not tired at
Her
all.
eyes are open.
Yeah, no,
I think
haven't
she's
been
just
sleeping at all.
dissociating.
No, I'm just processing.
I'm sorry.
This movie's a lot. What you're saying is a lot. It's a lot to process. I was thinking about, like, I wonder when the last time that old John David Washington saw young Arpats. Like, was it right
do you think that
before
like
then?
young Arpats is like holding old John David Washington's hand as he's like dying?
Ah!
Could be.
Maybe, but I was thinking of, like, do you think it was like right before that mission? Like, how long ago did he see old John David Washington?
He said something about in the
Years.
far future, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's up for debate.
Yeah.
But we know that John kind of takes over because he kills that one bitch in the car.
Yeah.
Which that whole scene had to do with like a bunch of
But
past
like to
stuff.
me, it seems like they have like spy missions, like keeping time safe.
Yeah. But
Like,
the thing is, they've
for-
always been that way. That's what's
Right.
that like the time, like everything's always happening. So John David Washington's always had the fate of being that person and and having people take care of those jobs.
Right. No, I was just saying that like him and Arpats do like spy, keep time in the world safe
So
missions.
so
throughout
in
the
a
years.
weird way, even though it doesn't feel this way, they're actually together forever
Correct.
because time isn't linear. It's always happening.
Yeah.
That's the
Isn't that
thing
a
about
nice thought?
that's the thing about time that fucks me up.
Yeah.
is that it's always happening.
That feels like a good place to end.
All right. So first off, who are we in this movie?
I don't think there's enough characters.
There's this is what I was about to say. Thank you for saying that. That was another one of my critiques.
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 How
And
did you say it?
critiques. And because like what the fuck? Why are there like 3 characters in this whole ass movie that's cost $1 billion? Anyway,
Right.
never mind.
Okay, so I guess the question is, are you a John David Washington or are you an R. Pats?
I seem to be a know-it-all, so I think I'm an R-Pats.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think I would have to be an R. Pats as well.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
John David along for the ride.
same. Wow.
I think
There's
that's like a
two-
real relationship test. Like in a relationship, either you're R. Pats or you're John David.
Yeah.
And there's no in
Yeah.
between.
Like in the long run, you two are probably going to be the more knowledgeable, wise people. But right now, we're pretty sure we know everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
Wait,
more
no, I
the
didn't think
slow burn.
I didn't think about it like that, but okay.
There you go.
Well,
Or the complete opposite, because time's not linear, and this movie is ridiculous.
So whatever.
Okay, let's give it our ratings.
Let's do that.
6 out of 10.
I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
I'm going to give it a cool 7 out of 10.
It's 5.5 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
Wow.
Like I said, I still really want to see this movie again. I just think I would gain a lot from it.
Like,
Yeah.
same.
And like, not that I think like I shouldn't have to do that, Chris, but like if I do, then I want to.
I think
Yeah.
I'd like to watch it at home with subtitles on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And actually, because here's the other thing, I worry that I actually think of it even better than it is because of the experience of seeing it in the cinema. Because when we
Yeah,
walked
because
out
we
of there,
haven't done-
when we walked out of there, all of us were glowing.
That's my thing. Like,
That's
I
so
really
true.
liked the visual
Yeah.
of this movie. I liked that it was very artistic. I liked a lot of like the scenes, like that one where they're like escaping that one head of everything's apartment or
Also,
whatever,
them,
like
the
escaping
whole
her house.
crashing the plane scene was
Yeah.
amazing. I loved
yeah,
it.
there were some like
Yeah.
insanely good and fun scenes to see, and we were in a theater for the first time in forever.
In like months.
Yeah, so
Literally seeing a movie in a theater gave me a migraine.
Yeah.
yeah,
It was not.
It
It was also
It
a
did,
long,
yeah.
loud movie. It was
Yes.
loud as fuck. It was so fucking loud. Even by
Right.
like cinematic standards.
Yeah.
All right, so what are we promoting right now?
Okay, so
Twitter?
what are we doing next week?
Well, first let's talk about go subscribe or sorry, subscribe. Well, yeah, subscribe.
Go, yeah.
Hit that like button, hit that bell, comment, say you love us. Prove me wrong about time theory, whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
Although
like,
I feel
post
pretty
your
rock solid on
thesis,
this
you know?
one.
Your dissertation in the comments.
Follow us on Twitter at Crosscut Cinema,
Um,
Instagram at Crosscut Cinema Pod.
mainly Twitter.
Mainly
Mainly
Twitter.
Definitely
Twitter,
attack
yeah.
our Twitter.
If you you follow us, tag us, and just tweet at us, whatever, and
We'll give you a shout out. Yeah.
Yep, you get a shout out from
We'd love
us.
to give a good shout out. So.
And then what are we doing next week? Death proof.
We are doing
The death proof?
The
Death
the
proof.
death proof.
Yes, we're going death proof next week.
Okay,
Okay, and then so let me look at the calendar. Let me pull up the calendar.
Don't spoil ahead.
What do you mean?
We don't want to give the whole calendar right now.
Well, do we want to say what we're doing the week after that though?
No.
No.
I guess not.
Gotta
Okay,
have some
I guess we're not.
mystique. Follow us on Twitter if you want to know that kind of shit.
You're right.
All right, fair enough then.
Yeah.
That's some inside knowledge.
Insider trading.
Okie dokie.
All right. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Later.
Thank you. Bye.
2 gay movies.